Hi, Eric Linask here. We're in San Jose, California at WebRTC Conference and Expo 5. Joining me today is Mike Holmland from Plantronics. Mike, thanks for joining me.
Eric, great to be here. Thank you so much for your time.
So, start off. What does Plantronics play in the WebRTC space?
So that's a great question. I wish I had $1 for every time I was asked that question. So, as you know, Plantronics is the leader in the headset industry. We've been in business for over 54 years. The first words spoken on the moon were actually spoken through a Plantronics headset. But over time, as the communications industry has evolved and software has moved front and center, the advent of IP telephony, unified communications, those trends now pushing into customer care environments, WebRTC seems poised to be the next big technology, and it's critical for Plantronics to continue to be involved and stay on that cutting edge. And in the case of WebRTC, we're actually an author of the standard.
So how does that play into what you're doing regarding your products, your product portfolio?
Of course. So we've made significant investment to add sensors to our products, to deliver platform, so people can now integrate and expose a variety of headset events to inform their communications business processes and just make their workflows a lot easier and more intuitive.
You mentioned a moment ago, being part of authoring the standards. Where do we stand in terms of global adoption or widespread adoption now that we've reached sort of an understanding of standardization?
Well, I think when we consider WebRTC and adoption globally, we're definitely starting to see a significant number of proof points in market of real application technology being deployed. Especially when we consider enterprise collaboration, we're especially interested in what we need to do to make sure we can ensure a quality of service with our devices independent of application or browser.
Does, historically one of the things that kind of has been a target for critics is, Microsoft isn't on board, Apple isn't on board. Well, we've now, at least to some degree, we'll have to wait and see how far it goes, but Microsoft at least has jumped into the fire, if you will. How important is that?
Well, again, when we're talking about a global open source standard, it's obviously critical that all the big players are participating. The fact that we've now seen greater steps on the part of Microsoft and Apple and others, it's really encouraging, and I think making it very clear to all of us participating that this is becoming real and that this is something that has momentum.
Does your involvement with WebRTC, first of all, where are sort of the areas of increased adoption that you're seeing, and does it open up new markets for Plantronics thanks to your involvement with WebRTC?
So for Plantronics, the opportunity is significant. So with WebRTC, we're seeing new access to mobility initiatives. We're seeing incremental attach rates to devices like tablets across the enterprise in areas like medical industry, hospitality, retail. And WebRTC is increasingly becoming a great communications medium, not just for voice, but for data as well. And headsets are a fabulous way that we can ensure a great experience to make sure that people are discreet, they're informed, and are able to maintain a professional decorum.
What do you have to do? So you got WebRTC on the one side. The other part of the equation, obviously, is as you said, people while wearing the headsets. What do you need to do? I don't think we see quite as many people wearing headsets out on the street or in their daily lives as you might have anticipated, given the flexibility that it enables. What has to happen in order for that adoption and use to grow?
So when we consider, just generally speaking, headset adoption, what we're seeing is technology is the driver. It's really critical for success of UC initiatives that headsets are deployed with all users. That's very well documented and understood. With the advent of WebRTC and the ability to push voice out, so it becomes ubiquitous across a variety of computing platforms and applications, headsets and voice, we envision, are going to become much more important for those transactional exchanges.
Where do you see the greatest opportunities for growth in terms of WebRTC adoption?
So for Plantronics, again, today, we have a variety of different businesses that we touch. Certainly, unified communications, we see a big push towards greater adoption and use of WebRTC. Customer care environments, we're already starting to see greater use of multimodal deployments where you're laying on top of traditional telephony infrastructure and now adding IM and video chat capabilities. Again, headsets really lie at the core of that experience for the agent as well as the customer. But with WebRTC and the application ecosystem around HTML5, we're also seeing a huge push towards mobility. And that's really emerging as a great growth opportunity for the company as Bluetooth becomes a much more desirable device and much more accessible.
So one last question, as far as video, so now you're talking about increased use of video, but also adding an earpiece, a headset to it, which I don't know, does everybody find that attractive when I'm on video? Is that a deterrent to adoption, especially in a video use case? And how does that impact the design process for you?
So that's a fabulous question because I'm vain myself and I don't always like wearing a headset, but it's much more important to me that I'm heard. So this device I'm wearing today, which is our Voyager Legend UC device, this has 3 mics in the boom, active noise canceling. And if I want to ensure a uniform quality of experience for everyone who's participating in a session, this isn't a nice to have. This is a critical requirement for your communications workflows. This is the last 3 feet of your enterprise infrastructure.
In other words, it's not how I look, it's how I sound.
It is.
Mike, thank you so much for joining us here today. Great to have you with us this week.
Thank you very much.